My name's Chloe, and you're about to listen to my track Triangle. If you like it, feel free to visit www.soundcloud.com/chollyhappymusic to hear more. Enjoy your flight with Lave Radio.
Galnet News Digest, 15th of September 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, we review what we know about the events following the firing of the Proteus wave. We discuss the peace movement, and we consider 3 moving stars.
The mainstream media have been alerted to the existence of a video that plays every time commanders log in to their ship computers, unless they press escape to skip, which, to be honest, most of them do by now. This video shows the events that took place during and just after the firing of Salvation's Proteus wave weapon. In simplified terms, Salvation detonated the Proteus wave. An equal and opposite detonation of something else in the Thargoid's structure fired a minute or so later. The Thargoids came back to life with new superpowers and destroyed everything human in the system. At the end of the video, there's a strange sound that some in the less than mainstream media have called the Thargoid roar. Various nutty professors have offered explanations. In ascending order of credibility, Professor Seamus Madigan reckons it might just be a residual echo of the energy pulse from the site of the Proteus wave. Dr. Jiang Hui-shin thinks it might be a rapid and urgent burst of communication, perhaps an SOS signal. And speaking aboard the Testament, the first apostle of the true chapters, explained that the sound was the sound of the far God, calling the faithful, and that something that the Thargoids might think of as a god, something to which the Thargoids are pale heraldic shadows, is coming to destroy the universe and liberate the far God faithful, and everyone else for that matter, from the misery of life. The far God is about to become manifest. The first apostle's explanation sounds by far the most convincing. With the Thargoids expanding their area of controlled territory out from HIP 22460, and with the recent invasion of 3 lightly inhabited systems on the edge of the bubble, the superpowers have had to explain to their citizens that there's nothing to worry about. Everything is under control. In fact, it's so under control that the Federation has deployed a number of Farragut battlecruisers into systems where they have no right to be. Given that there's not actually an incursion, and given that no stations have been attacked, there is a question over what those battleships are doing there. Still, the fireworks are pretty to watch.
The mainstream media is talking up war with the Thargoids, according to the rapidly growing Xeno-Peace movement. The Thargoid Advocacy Project, which believes that the only way to end the current conflict is by dialogue with the Thargoids, has claimed that the current apparently aggressive behaviour being exhibited by the Thargoids can be attributed entirely to defensive behaviour, and that the media's focus on Thargoids fighting in AX conflict zones is a blinkered view of these complex and intelligent creatures. Activist Timothy Culver explained that the Thargoids lived in the Pleiades, Witchhead, California and Coalsack regions long before humans moved in to steal the Thargoid meta-alloys. When the Thargoids tried to defend their lands, they were slaughtered in their thousands by the invading humans. Culver believes that the recent invasion by Thargoids of the 2N Persei, Chun Pindit and Tikidjal systems are peaceful reprisals for Salvation's Proteus Wave weapon of mass xenocide, which is built inside what many believe to be a crashed Thargoid hive ship. The Proteus Wave is the second attempt humanity has made to destroy. Thargoids have never attempted to wipe out humanity. Culver says that the Thargoids may be using warfare to communicate with humanity in the only way humanity understands. A bit like mime or interpretative dance, but with guns. The 3 unidentified interstellar anomalies, also known as Stargoids, but which we all know are really the Thargoids' Death Stars, or, if you're a Fargod adherent, the personification of your deity, continue to advance slowly towards the human bubble. After a few days of being dim, they're once again bright and visible from several hundred light-years. They also get brighter when there's something bright in front of them. No one knows why, but it makes for prettier pictures. Current locations are Call 69 Sector JG-WC2-0, Uchost DW-T D4-7 and Sleggy DS-E B56-0, all some way south of Barnard's Loop. At the moment, they're taking their time travelling slowly, but we already know they can speed up spectacularly when they want to. The mainstream media has described these objects as flares and has suggested that a swirly, shiny thing of enormous size making its way purposefully through the galaxy while making noises in the FSS that sound uncannily like the sound of Thargoid scavengers may just be 3 perfectly natural phenomena that just happen never to have been seen before, anywhere, ever. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.
Amid the stars in the sky, humanity expands and thrives as it pushes back the boundaries of the universe. From the luxury of the core systems to the harsh worlds of the frontier, men still fight. Some fight for survival or greed. Some fight for a flag and others for retribution. But across the lonely darkness, they all share one aim: to be elite.
Escape Velocity, an Elite Dangerous audio adventure serial written and produced by Christopher Jarvis. Episode 3, Into the Fire.
What? What is it?
Oh, space, no. No, 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 no!
What's the matter? What is that?
This is a container full of radioactive waste.
But if that's still in the hold, then that means...
Yeah. It means you jettisoned the robots.
What are we going to do?
We? What's all this we business? It's me they'll be looking for.
Commander Thane, I'm really sorry.
It doesn't matter. At least it isn't your fault. It was dark down there, the ship was buffeting around. It's pretty easy to click the wrong switch. And you can drop the commander. Thane is fine.
Can you replace the robots? Aren't they pretty standard?
Camilla said they were special robots. Prototypes or something. Right after she stuck a gun in my crotch and reminded me how bad it would be if I lost them.
Have we lost them all?
They were in 2 shipping containers. Looks like one of them is still here. Let's take a look, kid.
I keep telling you my name is May.
May, fine, whatever. Give me a hand with this.
It looks like 2 people lying side by side.
Yeah, there must have been 2 robots per container. That's it. I wonder if he could do it. I'm pretty sure he lives in the Semius system anyway.
Who? What are you talking about?
There's a guy I've heard of. I've never met him. He goes by the name of Kerlek. He's a bootlegger. There's a few of them around. I've heard Kerlek made it as far as Semius. They can reproduce almost any piece of technology you give them. His copies are almost perfect, right down to the smallest detail.
Why would he do a thing like that?
Your family must be rich, huh?
What does that mean?
It means, May, you've got no idea how expensive it is to keep things running. Patented technology represents massive profit for the corporations, and not everybody can pay top credit. Kerlek can sell the same components for 1/10 of the cost.
Why don't people just buy cheaper brands?
Because when your family's lives are dependent on atmospheric shielding and life support systems on board a ship, you don't want unreliable designs. Someone like Kerlek makes a lot of money giving people peace of mind.
He sounds like a parasite and a thief.
And you sound like a spoilt imperial brat. One who owes me a box of robots and a keg of hydrofuel.
Oh, yeah, that. How do we get to him then?
No fuel, remember? The chances against anybody finding us are astronomical. Unless your creepy school lessons taught you how to beam messages across star systems.
No.
I didn't think so. Look, it's late and I haven't slept in... well, I can't remember. Get some rest. I've swept the system with the scanner and I can't see anyone else who might want to kill us. I'll move us clear of the asteroids and we can have a peaceful night. Maybe in the next few hours a ship will pick up the distress beacon. I doubt it.
Okay. Is there a room I can have?
You're joking, right?
Of course not. Where do you expect me to sleep?
Look around you, kid. The cargo hold is all there is. Don't look like that. If you think back to the conversation we had before you stowed away on my ship, I told you I didn't have passenger quarters.
Where are you going to sleep?
I'm going to my bunk because it's my ship. I'm not responsible for your comfort. You're just unwelcome cargo. If you look around, there are some blankets and a cargo harness. Maybe you can make yourself a hammock.
Well, Really?
Okay, tell the Admiral that she needs to take another look at our hand weapons. We've made a number of improvements to the Mark V, and I think she's going to want them, especially at our prices.
Lorand, I've got news.
Give me a sec. Put it this way, Colonel. If I was going to lead a death squad into a populated area, I'd want guns with this kind of accuracy and stopping power. Okay, any orders you want right now, we can ship by the end of the week. We can sort out the contracts later. We know you're good for it. Thank you, Colonel. Space the federal military takes a long time to decide what guns they want. It's lucky for them there isn't a war going on. Oh dear, you've got a serious face. I'm not going to like this, am I?
I've just been on the comms watching some of the Elite Federation messages. 1 hour ago, bounty was awarded to Commander Thane for killing 2 bandits.
The assassins we sent after him?
Exactly. He must have outplayed them.
Damn it. That means he's better than we expected. Get us a couple of ships.
What are you going...
I'll have to deal with this myself, Dallas.
But surely we should wait until...
Dallas, I don't want to be put through another humiliating audience with any of the family elders. My last meeting with Grand Matriarch Absalon froze me to my core. We can't do anything sitting on our backsides in Delta Pavonis, staring across the border into Imperial space. We need to deal with this now, and we need to make sure that Commander Thane doesn't get away with our prototype.
Commander, no. Can't go back to school. Lessons hurt.
May, concentrate. A police Viper and a Mark III Cobra are in combat. The Cobra has only 12% hull and 20% shields remaining, while the police Viper has 87% hull. The police Viper has a 1 megawatt beam laser, while the Cobra has a 5 megawatt pulse laser. Which craft has the statistical advantage?
I know this, I do, I know it. Please wait. Please wait, I can do it.
Listen very carefully, student. This is one of your fellow trainees. She used to be the #1 student like you, but her scores are falling. You will answer my question correctly in 5 seconds, or she will die. Hurry now.
May, please. No, wait!
Hurry up. The knife is very sharp. It must be quite uncomfortable.
It hurts. May, please say. You mustn't.
Then answer.
The Cobra has the advantage.
Very good. That is correct.
No! But I got it right!
I knew you did, but she clearly didn't know the answer, or she would have spoken up. Now I have more questions and a waiting room full of failing students. Listen carefully, May. May? 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 May?
May? May? Wake up.
What? What's happening?
Were you having a nightmare? You were sweating.
I often have bad dreams. I can never remember them when I wake up. I'm sure they were about school, but they seem so blurry.
I brought you some breakfast packs and a simulty.
Thanks. You know you have a fuel scoop, right?
What?
I found it last night when I was searching for blankets. You have a fuel scoop fitted to your engine. We can refuel at any time. All we need is a gas giant or a nearby star.
Well, look who was the #1 student in class.
I'm only trying to help.
All right. Yes, I know about the fuel scoop. Honestly, though, I've never done it.
It's easy. At least, I read that it was easy. You fly through the outer atmosphere of the sun and the fuel scoop converts the plasma into usable hydrogen fuel.
But my point is, the fuel scoop hasn't been tested. At least, not by me. And I've certainly never tested the atmospheric shields against the heat of a star. Plus, only an idiot would attempt a star scrape in a binary system.
Why?
Your lessons were never finished then. In a binary system, you have 2 stars in orbit around each other. If you try to skim past one of them and get caught in the gravity field, you go into a slingshot orbit. You zoom around the sun and get flung out into space in the opposite direction. Really, really fast. Only in a binary system, what you get is the other sun right in your face.
Oh.
Unfortunately, you're completely right. Fuel scooping the sun is the only way we're getting out of this system. Okay, May, you strapped in?
Yes, I think so. These restraints are pretty tight.
You got a rem lock?
A what?
Space! You came travelling out here without a rem lock? Okay, put mine on.
What? What is it? What are you putting over my face?
It's a Remlock survival mask. If we lose cabin pressure, this will save your life. Here, put it on.
No, wait. If we lose pressure, you're the only one who can fly the ship.
It doesn't matter. Take it.
Be logical, Thane. If something happens to you, we both die. You need to fly the ship. I trust you. You can get us both through this.
Okay.
And thank you for caring enough to offer me your Remlock.
Whatever. Brace yourself. Even with the atmospheric shielding, it's going to get pretty hot in here.
Okay.
We might also get more turbulence. If we get hit by a solar flare, it's going to get really choppy.
I think my harness is coming loose.
Let me take a look. Is that better?
Yeah.
I'd better sit down before we get hit by a...
Commander! Commander!
Dallas, status?
I got us a pair of unmarked Vipers. They're prepped and ready to go.
Good.
Where exactly are we going?
I dug through Commander Thane's customs records. The flight plan he logged showed his cargo was heading for Semios.
You think it's legitimate?
I can't see why not. I don't imagine he knows the significance of what he's carrying.
So we're going to try and head him off?
That's the idea. We'll hang around the system fringes and see if he shows up. We scan for the first place he lands.
What will you do with him?
I haven't decided. But Mother has given him a designation. Commander Thane is now officially registered in our books as Alpha 45.
I see. Is the matriarch assigning him a black shadow?
Not yet. Hopefully that won't become necessary.
Oh.
Wake up! He's out cold. What do I do? Whoa, dizzy. Wait a minute. I know these controls. These are the retros. This is the readout for the fuel scoop. These are the lateral and dorsal maneuvering thrusters. I can fly this. I can really fly this.
Fuel scooping complete.
Oh, my head. What the hell? Are you okay? What happened?
I completed your fueling run for you.
You flew the ship?
I just realised that I knew how to do it. We must have had a simulator at school.
What do you mean, must have? You don't remember learning to fly a Merlin?
It's funny, the longer it's been that I've been away from the school, the harder I find it to remember what happened there.
The hyperspace engine is online. We can get out of here.
Finally.
You did a great job. The cargo bay is completely full.
It's been a pleasure.
Although, I don't know where you're going to sleep until we've used up some of this fuel.
Oh, you...
Oh, I'm kidding! I'm kidding! Welcome to Semius. We're now well into Imperial space.
Almost home.
A little way to go yet, May. Where exactly is it you live?
New radar contact.
Oh, what now?
We've picked up a couple of bogies, coming in fast. Asp-class ships.
Pilot of craft registration Echo Victor 223. This is Federal Border Patrol Omicron 9er. You will surrender and power down while your ship is scanned.
Do they have jurisdiction here?
I shouldn't think so.
Screw 'em then.
Hold, citizen. You will surrender and allow your craft to be scanned. Refusing a scan is in violation of Federal Trading Codes, reference 38 Kilo, subsection...
Board now.
Can you get away?
We can maneuver quicker than them. If I can keep us turning, it will slow them down. The planet we want is pretty close to the edge of the system anyway.
Where are we headed?
Donaldson. It's a ball of rock on one of the outer rings.
That's a pity. The worlds of Semius are supposed to be beautiful.
Well, I'm sorry this isn't a holiday, kid. We don't need terraforming and landscape parks. We need that technology boom.
Kerlek? You think we can trust him?
Not even slightly. But he's the only chance we have to make this delivery of robots in one piece.
Are the Federal ships still behind us?
Yep. And now we've got Imperial ships coming up in front of us. This should be interesting.
The Federal ships are backing off.
I thought their claims of jurisdiction might be put off in the face of actual Imperial security.
Hail, Commander, and welcome to Semius. This is IMSEC Patrol, Master Luther speaking. You will shortly be scanned for contraband. Do you have anything to declare?
Thank you, Patrol. Nothing unusual. Thanks for your time.
But what about the cargo?
It should be legit.
Thank you, Commander. Have a safe journey.
Thank you, Patrol. Well, that's a relief.
Welcome to Anderton's camp, Commander. Landing clearance granted. Proceed to Bay 4.
Thank you, OTC.
How do we land?
You see that bubble on the space dock? As we approach, it will open like an iris and close behind us. The docking bays are all pressurized.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Vessel secure. Please make your way to immigration control.
So this is another world? Another planet?
Yeah. Sorry it isn't more of a looker for you, kid. This place is just one of those balls of rock that some people can't resist living on. It doesn't even have an atmosphere.
Enter ident details. Thank you, Commander Thane.
No atmosphere?
Oh, sweet! I got a 400 credit bounty for wasting those 2 ships that came after us. That'll make this easier.
Why are you ordering fuel? Won't we do that when we leave?
First important lesson, kid. Always refuel when you arrive. You never know when you'll have to leave in a hurry. What was I saying?
You were saying this planet has no atmosphere. Where do the people live?
A lot of them live and work in the spaceport. Look, we're about to leave the immigration area. There's probably a market right outside. Eager traders trying to get their first dibs on incoming visitors before they realise they can get better prices elsewhere.
Okay.
Just watch out for your goods. This place can be colourful.
I don't have anything worth grabbing.
It's cute that you think that. Just be careful. Here we go.
Welcome to Anderton's camp. Have a nice day.
Greetings, Commander. What did you bring? I can give you the best price. I understand. You carry furniture. I'll give you a great price.
Come on.
Get your special edition Dream Sequence of Maxwell Returns Anniversary Edition, holographically remastered with new effects and 23 seconds of previously unfelt emotions. It's a local classic, only 100.
Precious metals. Precious jewellery for the beautiful little girl. No? Is she your slave? I'd give you an excellent price for such a young and unspoiled beauty.
Ow, let go!
Come through here. Oh. Have you seen any signs for ground transport?
No. Why?
We need to hire some wheels.
So where are you planning on ditching me then?
What do you mean?
Come on. You've never wanted me around, and you've shown no inclination to take me home. Shall I just find my own way from here?
Well, I can't very well leave you on this rock, can I? Empire or no empire, this doesn't look like a very safe planet. Besides, if this deal with Camilla goes tits up, you're my best witness that we were attacked.
So where are we going?
Wherever Kurlik is hiding out, it won't be connected to the main transport network here. He'll be a loner. We'll need to hire a surface buggy and drive to his location. I found an old reference set of coordinates. I hope he's still there.
But you said there was no atmosphere.
The buggy will be shielded, don't worry. Look! Here.
A remlock?
If we're travelling outside, the remlock will keep you safe.
What does it do?
If you're exposed to vacuum for any reason, it'll shoot a protective bubble around you. And believe me, on a planet where everyone lives with the threat of vacuum, the whole city will drop what they're doing and come and rescue you. I promise.
Thank you, Zane.
Come on, let's go find a ride.
Look at all those glass domes. The towers and trees look incredible.
Your empire does have some very pretty buildings, I'll give you that.
And that's where the people live, on this planet? In those domes?
The rich ones do. The poorer workers and slaves probably live underground. The traders mostly work and doss down in the spaceport. It's the Imperial dream.
What do you mean?
Never mind. According to the coordinates I pulled together, we're here. Looks like there's some kind of pressurized vehicle bay. I suggest we try it unless you want to wear the suits. No? Let's take a look then. Power checks out. Atmosphere breathable. Pressure good.
We can get out.
Yeah, but I'd keep that remlock on if I were you.
It's dark and covered in dust and junk.
Someone has gone to a lot of effort to make this place look abandoned, despite the fact that the airlock works perfectly.
You think there's someone here then?
I do. I just hope it isn't someone who wants to kill us.
I thought you said he was a trader.
He was. A lot can happen to a man out here. His place may have even been taken over by bandits. Maybe I shouldn't have brought you here.
There's a door at the back. I'll look.
Come back. May, be careful.
What the hell is that?
May, look out!
In that episode of Escape Velocity, Amy Timms played May, Christopher Jarvis, Thane, Liam Macaulay, Dallas, Rebecca Keeves, Lorand, Georgia Darlison was the Imperial pilot and teacher, Anthony Wilkes, Federal pilot, Katie Howes, student, with John Stabler as orbital traffic control and Verity Croft as the voice of the computer. Other parts were played by members of the cast. Escape Velocity was written and produced by Christopher Jarvis, with additional music by Alan Stroud, and is a Radio Theatre Workshop production. This work contains non-law fiction set in the Elite Dangerous galaxy. Elite Dangerous is copyright Frontier Developments plc. For more information, please visit escapevelocity.laveradio.com.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
A show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from a current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 409 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, and joining me in the orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have a full crew. We have our head of health and safety, Ben Moss Woodward, otherwise known as Commander Edelweiss. Excellent. We also have our staff liaison officer, Commander Psychic.
Oh, hi.
And we also have our apprentice stunt driver, the legendary Commander Alec Turner.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, and welcome to this episode of Lave Radio. Now, if you wish, you can join us live. We are not hanging out in game. Somebody is streaming something on the something else on the stream tonight, which I'm quite sure it should be familiar to a lot of people. But if you want to, we are hanging out on Twitch. You can get to that through going to laveradio.com/live and click on the live chat, or go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or go to Facebook and look up Lave Radio, or YouTube, or even Twitter. We are live on all of them. So let's quickly go round the crew now that we've got a full one and see how they've been. So we will start off with our apprentice driver, Mr. Turner. How have you been?
Blimey, dropped straight in at the deep end.
Definitely.
I've been all right. It's been a chaotic couple of weeks, actually. I was away last week because we took my 93, I'm going to say, year-old stepmom and her sister away on holiday. And she's blind and her sister's deaf, so it was like some sort of geriatric, what's that cartoon with Gene Wilder and see no evil, hear no evil. So there was a lot of shouting at each other and
gestures.
Yeah, manic behaviour, but it was good fun. They went bowling and swimming and did I don't know, all sorts of, got them playing pool and golf, and so they had a great time. But it was a bit exhausting. And then where are we this week? We're having our entire central heating system stripped out and replaced. The cunning plan being, well, you know, Boris's advice was to sell your old kettle and get a new one, and we thought we'd take that to the max and get rid of our entire central heating system and get a new one. I'm not quite sure how many years it's going to take to pay for itself, but the theory is good if it works.
So is it boiler or heat pump?
It's a boiler. We didn't go as far as heat pump, but it should nevertheless, in theory, be a lot more efficient than our old system. I'll let you know in about 15 years whether or not we've made our money back.
Excellent. And we will pop over to our chief heckler, that'd be Commander Psychic.
Don't know what you mean. Rumours of my heckling from last week are vastly exaggerated. I wasn't invoiced. I didn't heckle at all. I didn't type anything in chat at any point whatsoever. Hi, how you doing?
So shall we update your job title to Liar in Chief then?
No, I think Staff Liaison Officer covers all of it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, folks. I had I was away. I was in a caravan in North Wales, and it was lush, and it was we went to the long place name, and we did all sorts of touristy things. And one person told us that our dog was very well behaved, and I'm taking that to the bank. But yeah, it was just like a nice bit of time away. But I did obviously make a lot of time to come and keep tuned into the show, which was excellent last week. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, glad you did. Okay, Ben, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been all right. I'm suffering, a wee spot of temporal displacement effects, but apart from that, everything's okay.
Well, you mean popping over to another universe? You mean?
I mean popping back to 1984, but yeah.
Oh no! I thought you were in another universe.
No, I've been all over the galaxy. I've been in other universes. I've been in metaverses. Now we're doing a spot of time traveling. It's all good.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I'm afraid to say it. You could probably tell that I've got a slight amount of the lurgy. Looks like my daughter came back from university with a nasty cold, and she's decided to share and enjoy. So, yeah, that's been fun. Been doing a lot of Elite. Did a lot of shared missions last night, and didn't die once, and didn't get any notoriety. So I was quite proud of myself. Plenty of murdering, but legal murdering, if you like.
I did that the other day.
I know what you mean.
So, let's quickly skip on to the development news. Well, it has been a very busy week for Frontier. Obviously, last Tuesday they kicked off the console transfer, and that seems to have been a resounding success. There's been very few failures. There was some very long waiting times to begin with, but that seemed to settle down. I think the average time is now between 5 and 10 minutes for you to transfer your commander over. Yes, and you can tell you can actually tell because the Steam powered numbers for Elite have actually started to rise quite significantly over the last week. So yeah, the numbers are now higher, almost as high as February this year, which was quite good going. So I think we did the console transfers to death last week, but Psychic, Alec, have you got anything to say on that?
Woohoo! Console transfers.
Yay, console transfers. I'll just say, yeah, I confirm that I've seen lots of stories of people saying that it was very easy and very straightforward, and they're quite happy. I've seen mixed bag results. I'd be curious to see what other people have seen on what people think about Odyssey once they've. Oh, actually, I'm jumping ahead to the 4.0. Ignore that. Edit that out. We'll come on to that.
We'll come on to that in the moment. So yeah, there's a big thumbs up for the moment about the people moving over from consoles, and of course there's the usual people who are unhappy about the fact that they're stuck on consoles, which I'm afraid I don't think there's anything we can say because we've been over that one so many times. But as part of the console transfers, it felt like they thought that this was the ideal opportunity to launch 4.0, the Horizons Odyssey hybrid, if you like. So this is, of course, if you do not have Odyssey, you now have a copy of Horizons 4.0, which gives you everything that's in Odyssey, apart from the on-foot stuff. That about right?
Yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
about right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And so that means the new UI, the new planetary tech, the new graphics engine, obviously the Scorpion, and I think they gave the multi-Limpet controllers. Those were in 3.8 as well, were they? Or are they 4.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
they were.
I haven't tested them actually, but I think 3.8 already had those.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So effectively, you can try out the new content which is coming, which is or in existence. So if you go to HIP 22460, you will suffer the same effects that the rest of the Odyssey players have been having, and also you will be dealing with the Thargoids in a much more aggressive state. And in addition to which, you can also track the unidentified interstellar anomalies, if that's what we're calling them these days.
A bit wordy, isn't it? I think
It is.
Stargoid.
Stargoids, as people seem to want to call it. I thought it was a Tharg star. Has everybody agreed it's now a Stargoid?
Stargoid, yeah. I think Stargoid was.
I mean, one might argue, I'm still going for space, but I'm still trying to make that a thing. But I'm not super worried about if it doesn't catch on. It's okay.
That is the one problem, isn't it, with Stargoid, is that we're going to look like right fools when it has absolutely nothing to do with Thargoids.
It's 100% everything to do with Thargoids. I wouldn't worry about looking like a fool with that.
Okay.
Yeah. For those of you who are on Psychit's side, you could also include Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude for the rather graphic representation of what they thought the Stargoid was in one of their Galnet articles. Never be able to look at that again. It's one of those things that now that I've seen that image, it's kind of spoilt the Thargoid, the Stargoid for me. It really has. It's shakes fist angrily for those of you who can't see it. Right, 4.0 obviously launched. Yeah. Now there is one caveat as far as 4.0 is concerned, is that Odyssey players, you don't get it at all. If you have got Odyssey, that's it. You don't get Horizons 4.0. And the other upshot of all this is that, as we've mentioned before, you cannot instance with other Horizons 4.0 and Odyssey cannot instance together. So yeah, there's been a lot of confusion about the fact that a lot of people thought they were getting Odyssey, and then they all thought they were all going to be able to at least join up in Odyssey 4.0. But it does seem that the things are split again.
Yep.
I mean, ironically, Odyssey is actually on sale at the moment for £16.50. I think it's 40% off. But
has the reasoning been explained?
Well,
No.
I mean, no, it hasn't really. I have a theory, and the only thing I was going to say, especially with the sale, is I forget who it was. Was it Bruce? Was it Sally? Somebody gave a pretty blunt reply when somebody said, "How do I instance with my Horizons 4.0 friends?" And the fairly blunt reply was, "They should just buy Odyssey," which actually isn't, given its half price, it's clearly rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. But it's a good point, I suppose. My theory, I'd love to hear other people's theories. My theory on why it doesn't work, I guess we could confirm this, but Horizons 4.0 and Odyssey are basically the same game. I mean, it's the same game client, and it's simply that in order for it to be Horizons, certain features are disabled, like the ability to get out on foot.
Or land on atmospheric planets.
Yeah. So my theory is kind of that perhaps they both install in the same location, and that having two versions of the same game installed in the same place that behave in two different ways just didn't work. I mean, it's obviously easy to fix, but I wonder if anyone's tried that. I wonder if anyone could report the name of the folder where Horizons 4.0 installs and whether it is actually the same location that Odyssey installs.
Yeah, I'm not sure because obviously we've all got Odyssey, so we don't know. That's the issue. I mean, I personally thought it was something to do with the Teams mechanism, how difficult it would be if you had all kind of joined the same ship or team, and then all of a sudden one of you had the one. Let's say the pilot is in Odyssey, and the crew is in Horizons 4.0, and the pilot tries to land on an atmospheric planet. And I mean, it'd be an absolute nightmare. I mean, what happens? Does the crew get ejected from the ship and are just hovering above the planet, or there's a whole load of horrible use cases that could be construed. I mean, it's not like there's a clean cutoff point like there is between the original Elite and Horizons.
Elvis Kremen points out in chat it is yet another 50 gigabyte download. So if you have Horizons 3.8 and Odyssey and Horizons 4.0, that's 3 full installs of the game. But I mean, if you've got enough disk space, then I still don't really see why Frontier don't allow us to do that. But hey,
yeah. Right. Anybody else got anything to mutter about 4.0? I mean, from what I've seen in the forums, there's a lot of the user complaints that we've always had with Odyssey. A lot of the UI changes that. I mean, I found I had a bit of pain to get through in order to get used to it.
I was going to say that is that we are seeing, and I'd love to see. I wish I'd seen more of the flip side, but I have to say I haven't. But maybe that's the nature of the forums. But I have seen a lot of people who are seeing either the UI for the first time or the performance for the first time, or maybe people who are used to like the old Planet Tech. We're seeing a lot of the sort of initial complaints that we had with Odyssey coming round again as new people get hit with those things for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, the UI, it's painful to start with, but once I get used to it, I find it now difficult to go back to 3.8. The main issue, of course, is that there are a couple of outstanding issues. There's obviously the performance issues that you've highlighted, and there's a couple of glaring issues with the galaxy map, not remembering routes like it does in Horizons, that really, really need to be kind of smoother, take it out.
I think also the lighting is fundamentally different, and I don't think it's necessary. I don't think Frontier would say it's broken anymore. I think they've worked through all the issues that they thought were actual issues. But it is different, and so that's another thing like the UI that I guess you have to get used to. Some people don't like it. The contrast is higher, and I think things are different.
Yeah, that's been a complaint, hasn't it? People have sort of said they've not liked the new shadows, and Psychic, you said that the shadows are still very much broken in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice. I'm gonna sort of like hark back to when Odyssey sort of like first came out. It still would be very nice in these update 4.0 times to have I don't know, accessibility in a game which is like I've been out for quite some time. Now it would be really nice to see those things. So yeah, if that in itself would be again a lovely thing. I think with the forums we have an issue wherein we have a lot of folks who people are much more likely to say if they don't like something rather than if they like something they will just continue enjoying it. So you are always going to see a sway towards negativity in the vocality of negativity. There's not really a big shock by that for me. I would have just liked. I'm not even bothered about having Odyssey and being able to interact with Horizons 4.0 people. I would have personally been incredibly happy with just being able to load into 4.0 to go and like experience things with 4.0 commanders for the same time, in the same way that we can now experience things with our console friends now that they've moved over. It feels like, as you said earlier, Colin, like we're breaking up, dismantling and breaking up the community again. That said, had Frontier come out and said initially, this is literally a tech demo for those who are interested in seeing if 4.0 will or Odyssey would work on their machines before actually taking that step and paying money to buy Odyssey. If they'd have said that from like the beginning, from when they started saying we're going to now give Horizons owners 4.0 as well, that would have been great. But there was no sort of like sign of that until the day before, that Odyssey players weren't going to have access to Horizons 4.0 to be able to play with those commanders in the new engine, which I personally found incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm with you on that one. Alec.
Yeah, I was just going to say on the tech demo thing, and I get that, and I've heard people say it's a way to test out, if your machine is going to run Odyssey. I think we should remember that the main reason for Horizons 4.0 is because 4.0 is the only platform on which the narrative is going forwards. So as far as Frontier are concerned, Horizons 4.0 is their way of allowing people who haven't paid to upgrade to Odyssey to experience the narrative from this point going forwards. I don't think it's about any of those other things for Frontier. I think they see it purely as a way of giving Horizons players access to new narrative.
Well, there's also the other issue is that now that Horizons 4.0 and Odyssey are combined, then it's easier to develop. All you have to worry about for 3.8 is making sure that you've got the Galnet news and the community goals running properly and making sure that nothing breaks. And that's all you have to worry about. With 4.0 and Odyssey, obviously 4.0 is a subset of Odyssey. So if you fix something in Odyssey and it's part of 4.0, that's also fixed as well. So it's like it.
So there is a forum post where they've said, when they announced the forum post, and then we had a big chat about it. Within the forum, there's like 12 pages of people going, "Why can't I play Horizons 4.0 with Odyssey? It's like you're gatekeeping that from me." Blah blah blah. All of the things that people aren't happy with. But someone said on that thread, and I don't know who it was, and I'm frantically trying to pull the thread up now. Someone said on that thread, it would have been, like, as I said, it would have been better had you said this is a tech demo, and gives you a chance to find it out. And Sally went, "That's a really good point," and then changed the original post to say this is a tech demo, effectively. And that felt, you know what it did? Do you remember the Blizzard saying, "Do you not have phones?"
Yeah.
It felt like it gave that energy to me.
Oh dear.
And that I was on holiday, and that I shouldn't have to like feel that energy while I'm on holiday, lads. It's not. It just made me. It gave me that same ick as people going, "Do you not have phones? Just go ahead and buy Odyssey." We're in a fucking cost of living crisis. I don't care if it's 45% off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that did get me about the whole issue with this is that I think this I'm not quite so sure about this. It was a rumor that I heard that you could actually launch Odyssey in 4.0 mode.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, but for the life of me, I've been all the way through the forums. I've been all the way through Reddit. I've been trying to search to find the person who made this post, but I haven't found it yet. So that's unconfirmed. If anybody out there can let us know how you can do that, I'd like to know. But because it'd be interesting to see whether or not this switch to launch something in 4.0 mode would actually work. The main issue about all Odyssey at the moment, Horizons 4.0, is that a lot of the CQC players and the Power Play players are sticking with 3.8 because that's the only common platform. Like, if I played live Odyssey Power Play, there's hardly anybody playing it, so I might as well be playing it in solo. But then again, at the moment, there's not that many Power Players left at the moment. Anyway, but yes. So, Ben.
That Switch, the way that you meant that we may or may not be able to go into Odyssey 4.0, is it not a command line argument basically to the launcher or something?
There was a command line launcher argument which would make sure that the if you triggered it, it would launch. It would put the launcher up and then fire it as if you selected Odyssey.
Yeah,
I mean selected Horizons. But I was under the impression that there was a command line option which launched Odyssey, but in 4.0 mode. So yeah, this is what Sally's updated, isn't it?
Yeah, the italic parts, the italicized parts were the bits that she added post her. I feel like it's been altered again since, but I didn't take a screenshot of what they'd written before, but it still gives me the ick.
Yeah, I mean, this one said the release is courtesy and a free upgrade for non-Odyssey owners, which is true.
Owners.
Yeah, non-Odyssey owners, that's right. You don't have Odyssey, you smell. They now get the 4.0 code base with a number of perks that it contains, which we've discussed, as well as being able to engage with future content and narrative updates at no additional cost, where this wasn't possible before. So yeah, it's a free update, but I think it's this lack of crossplay or the lack of being able to instance is the kicker for this.
Yeah. I don't understand why they're doing this. I don't see where the harm is in letting Odyssey players be able to play technically Odyssey 4.0 with Horizons commanders.
Well, maybe it's a stick to try and get as many Odyssey players in as possible.
Well, in that case, then you could just argue it's a blind money grab, but I don't want to say that.
Alec?
It's really just an interjection on Ben's comment. Like I said, I think it's almost an oversight that you can't, that Odyssey players haven't got access to Horizons 4.0. I don't think it's a big tactical decision on Frontier's behalf. I think it's almost an oversight. I could well imagine it not even occurring to them that anyone would want to do that. You've got Odyssey. Why on earth would you want to play exactly the same game client but with certain features disabled? And I could almost imagine, there was that first question on the forum that was, how do I instance with my 4.0 Horizons friends? I could almost picture people at Frontier going, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Okay. Psych it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm kind of in the same mindset as you, Alec. But it's do you know what the most disappointing thing about it for me was how much of a win week Frontier were on.
I know.
They were on such a cracking week.
Is that their fault or ours, though? I sometimes feel like the community finds a bone to shake.
Don't gaslight yourself into thinking that this was a bad decision. But
it's not an awful thing that they've done. It's only a little thing, and then the community have shaken it like a rotting bone.
It's something. It's something at least. It's something that marred an absolutely wonderful week.
But they have to be so perfect, don't they? To not have something mar the week. I do feel for them sometimes. They have to be so perfect.
Yeah.
They've got a history of not being particularly perfect, especially
yeah,
within the last year.
Yeah, of course.
You could. I just feel like it's such a for me, it's such a vast oversight that it just boggles my mind. Why wouldn't you want to do? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to? Elite is amazing when you're playing with friends. Why wouldn't you want to? Jump? Why wouldn't an Odyssey player who loves Odyssey and wants to share their experience of 4.0 with their friends? They don't they want to drive around in a Scorpion with their friends in 4.0. Their friends have to buy Odyssey, and it's not sometimes like a lot of these people have just shelled out for a PC.
Yeah, but at the moment, Odyssey is about the price of a ship kit or two. Ship kit and a half, really.
It still costs money, though.
Anyway, so the upshot of all this, well, I mean, you can't expect to buy Odyssey for nothing, because then can you imagine the salt of the people that have bought Odyssey?
Yeah, I know. I saw someone on the forum suggesting, why don't they just give Odyssey away? And it's like, well, it's kind of their only, apart from cosmetics, it's the only thing that they're getting revenue from for this game. Well,
yeah, that was an odd thread. That was. Anyway, so moving on from that, we have today Sally released a new discovery scanner, which basically has just gone over exactly what we've just talked about. However, there is the next live stream happening, next frame shift live. Now that is going to be, we're going to have Darren on the stream this time, and they've had a join the discussion option, which will take you to the thread, and you can put questions in the thread which could be answered by Darren. I'm a bit hesitant to actually mention that because all of a sudden it's now going to be flooded by people all demanding to have ship interiors or VR, the usual two big things that always are requested.
Your questions were great. I can't remember what they were, but I remember seeing them today, Colin, and thinking...
We demand glitter bombs. That's what we demand.
Actually, no. It was a request to see whether or not a certain mechanic was still working. Remember the Interstellar Initiative, which wiped out all the agricultural crops from the commodity markets, and you were supposed to put a whole load of these chemicals. You bought these chemicals to repair the damage. The problem is that, as far as Lave is concerned, we only repaired enough to get one commodity back, which was coffee. So we've got coffee and we've got Lave and brandy, and that's it. And I was wondering whether or not that mechanic was still in progress, so that if players did decide to do a massive effort to treat Lave again, would that bring back all the commodities, or are we stuck with just coffee?
It's really interesting because that whole agronomic treatment thing is a really old,
it's
CG.
It's 3 years now.
Yeah, right. So most people, a lot of people won't even be aware of it. But
as a coffee addict, I don't see a problem with any of this.
Yeah. Is the game still, running that bit of algorithm to deal with agronomic treatment? Is it still possible?
Yeah, I mean, do we still have it? Yeah, it's a state called Blight. I don't know if there's any systems which still have that state in.
It must be. I must have seen that somewhere.
Well, the upshot is the one thing that I've always been curious about is whether or not that mechanic is still in place, and whether or not we could organise, I don't know, something like Operation Ida to do a massive fixing up of agricultural systems which are still affected. That'd be a good community effort.
According to EDDB, there are currently 29 systems with a faction state of Blight in there.
Ooh, that's a lot. So obviously the state's still in there. So
Yeah, state still exists. I just wonder if the mechanics still the same.
Mm.
Because if there's one thing that they really like to do at Frontier, they just like to just change something with the BGS and just wait until the rest of us find out about it.
yeah. It's something I wanted to ask at LaveCon, but I never got the opportunity to. I should have sent you lot a message to ask on my behalf. Never mind. So yeah, the Discovery Scanner is out now, and effectively, one of the things they have said is yes, you can. There's a whole load of percentage points off. 75% off Elite Dangerous, 45% off Elite Odyssey, and 45% off the Commander Premier Edition on the Frontier store only. So if it's on the Steam store, it'll still be back to its full price. And apart from that, that's it. As far as the... they have actually started to put in a new thing called the Galnet News Roundup. I'm sorry, I'm wondering, are they a bit threatened by Galnet News Digest?
Everyone's threatened by Galnet News Digest.
It does seem that, doesn't it?
It does. Oh, quickly, we better do an official one because the unofficial one is so much better. Meanwhile, you can hear Commander Witherspoon's head exploding.
It's not that good. It's all right. It's not that good.
It's the thing that Paul was made for.
Well, looking down at the show notes, there is one very important thing that happened. That's happened today, and that is we have been reminded, and this is what Ben is playing with on the stream, is that, oh god, this makes me feel so old. 38 years ago today, the original Elite was launched on the BBC Micro. And the worst thing is, as I remember it.
Like it were yesterday.
Someone start playing the Hovis music in the background. Yeah, obviously, there's a whole load of firsts that came with that game. It was on the BBC. It was one of the first proper 3D dogfighters. And then on top of that, it was the first proper open world game. And for those of you who want to see what we've suffered with, you can download it for free on the Frontier website.
Actually, I don't remember Diesel being so deadly. Yeah, I just got my butt handed to me in Diesel. I mean, I was able to stand up for myself, but there was a lot of... I'm just in the beginner ship, obviously. Well, the beginner version of the Cobra Mark III. And I had a lot of pirates in between me and Diesel.
Well, that's ironic because it's a democracy, which means that it's supposed to be relatively secure.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'd be alright going there, but wow!
You forget how much more brutal those games were.
It really is.
I mean, that's one thing that got me when I played Frontier First Encounters. I thought, I'll just fly from this place to that place, and one pirate later, that was it, gone. I was there going, yeah, you just completely forget how brutal it was. These kids today, they don't know they've got it made. Oh, I see. Well, we're seeing Yorkshireman sketch quotes appearing in chat all of a sudden. There's a surprise. Alec?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Diesel's maybe the wrong example, but we've commented on this show many times about how the original Elite, you felt a real sense of danger in anarchy systems, which I think Elite Dangerous has never quite managed to recreate.
I'm dead again!
There you go.
And we didn't even have to ask anybody to kill you.
No!
Yeah, I must admit, that is as an old school player, I must admit, I am there thinking that populated anarchies needed to be lethal, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that Reedquat were as scary as this version of Diesel has been. But
yeah, well, Request's not an anarchy anymore, though, is it?
no, but I wish it had been.
Isn't there a system very close to it with a coder based? That's an anarchy. Now we're getting told we're slipping into gaming dad's corner.
We are gaming dads.
Well, 75%.
Are you a gamer? Are you a dad? No.
No,
Sai's
I'm not.
Sai's not a dad, and I know, you know.
And you're daddy, bitch.
Anyway.
You've got a cat. That's almost as good as being a dad, isn't it, Sai?
I could certainly be somebody's daddy, but that's not a problem.
I'm gonna have to type this out. I can't
We've
say
had
it on air.
We've had Daddy Savlon, and now we're getting Daddy Psychit.
We've got Daddy Palin. No, we've got Daddy Ram and Papa Palin. You got to remember those.
Oh dear. It's almost as bad as Daddy Pig, to be honest. Right.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, that was really helpful, Ben.
Hey, sorry, just whenever I hear Daddy Pig, I've got to do these kind of things. It's called having a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying that, Psychit.
Don't say it. Don't say it. It's for our eyes only. I wouldn't, Alec. I wouldn't Google what I just wrote in chat.
No.
What I will say, just to, make you guys feel even better about yourselves, is that I wasn't even born when this game came out. Enjoy that.
Oh, lovely.
It's all right. We need somebody on the show representing the youth of
That's
today.
me. That's
There you go.
me. In touch with the youth and all that.
Yeah.
Down
I
with
know.
the kids.
I understand the TikTok.
In it.
I did love how Sally is like 1 day older than Elite.
No, she isn't.
No,
though.
she's not. She's minus 1 year.
A year and a day or something. What is she going on about with like doing the Rolling Stones then?
Well, because
Well, 'cause
Darren confused her.
Oh, okay, it's all Darren's fault.
It's always Darren's fault.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, it's Sally's posted on Twitter yesterday that it was her 37th birthday, and of course today they posted that Elite was 38 years old. So, yeah, I think it came out a year later on the Spectrum, which was the version I cut my teeth on, and the Commodore 64. Everybody goes on about which version was particularly the best and all that kind of stuff, but
the NES is the definitive edition, and I'm standing by that.
We really didn't need that on the chat, Ben. We really didn't. Yes, so I think we'll move on to the in-game events before this degrades into the level that was last week. What has been happening in the last week in Elite Dangerous? Well, the Xeno Peace Lovers have made a claim that we are the invaders in Thargoid space, and we deserve everything that we get.
We are, and we do. I agree with them.
There is an element of truth in that. Let's be honest, and they are trying. Basically, they're trying to say we should try talking to the Thargoids, which I don't think at this point the Thargoids are going to be willing to listen. Next up was on the 15th, the legendary new Thargoid roar that occurred at the end of the Daddy Savlon death cutscene. Yeah, that has now been released to the public, which has, of course, scared the bejesus out of the public. On the 16th, there was the judgment of Admiral Tanner, who's been basically exonerated that he should have, that if the community had backed him, he would have been proven right. And yes, but because he didn't follow orders, basically he has been dishonorably discharged, and he can never hold public office or a federal military rank again. Which, yes, well, I actually quite enjoyed this one because basically it went to prove that Aegis was right. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that if Admiral Tanner had won that particular community goal, it would be Aegis firing the Proteus wave and not Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, Psychic.
No, you're right. Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
Oh, right, sorry.
It felt like you like the things that we've talked about, how the results of the CG make changes to the narrative arc and things along those lines, but it's not like they're not huge changes. It just alters the name of the player or the name of the branding on the weaponry or something like that, those kind of things. And I feel like when this article came out and it was something that we were sort of like talking about then and there, it was very much like, oh, so this is clarifying what it would have been like had maybe more information about Salvation being a bit of a wrong un. Let's say the wreck of the Alexandria, and then discovering that that Wycherley was also the witch, was also Salvation, and that was all like wrapped up in a nice bow. If Tanner had used that as his let's go and attack Salvation, I think it would have been an entirely different outcome, but with the same Proteus wave and this kind of result.
Yeah, so basically it would have been Admiral Tanner dead on whatever megaship outside HIP 22460, as opposed to Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that character in the future. I mean, we might end up with a kind of, how shall I put it? I keep on going back to Pacific Rim for this, where, you know, they had the last defense of mankind and everybody had given up on them, and they were just a private enterprise in Hong Kong just holding on by the skin of their teeth. And I'm wondering if that's the direction that Aegis is going to go.
He's important. Tanner is important enough that he has graffiti about him, right? There is Tanner graffiti. So I certainly don't feel like this is the last that we've heard of him. He's not going to shrink back into obscurity now. He's dishonorably discharged. I feel like he's not allowed to do government stuff or military stuff anymore.
The Federation.
Yeah, okay. So could he go with oh my gosh, what's her name? The Aegis woman.
Oh, Professor Thingy-me-bob.
Tesro.
That's the one.
Tesro. Thanks, Kate, for the DM. I appreciate it. Could he like join forces with her, and could there be like a reform Aegis thing that's happening?
This is one thing that's making me wonder, because isn't the only completely Aegis-owned system one of the closest systems to the Stargoid at the moment? I'm sure that one of the systems, the closest human system to one of the Stargoids at the moment, is the Aegis system that's a tourist economy for some reason.
Wherever the there's a megaship, isn't there? An Aegis megaship that's somewhere, and it's in that direction for sure.
I'm just wondering whether that's where the Stargoid's going.
Why?
Well, just wipe out the last of Aegis.
He just didn't do nothing. At the end of the day, he just got like pretty much like more fucked than the rest of us at this point.
Yeah. Right. Moving on from there, the Far God cult has become under further federal scrutiny today. There's been an awful lot of complaints from them saying that it's intrusion, our privacy's being undermined, etc., etc. But when they were celebrating the loss of federal battleships to the Thargoids, I think they're going to be considered enemy number one going forward. And in Imperial news, in a kind of break from tradition, Aisling Duval, or Aisling, whatever, she has now criticised the Emperor herself by saying that the Emperor's made a mistake for them going it alone. She sort of has highlighted the fact that although they lost at HIP 22-460, they lost together. And if they lost together, what chance have they got trying to stand separately? Go on, Psychic.
We discussed it. We discussed this a little bit earlier, but she was very, very much against the Aegis forming, wasn't she? She was originally quite against that, and it feels like she's turned tail and is now like, oh, we should all be friends again. Well, what's the thing that's best for my popularity? And I hate her.
Oh, you just think that she'll just jump on any bandwagon as long as
100%. 100%. All that, like it. What? Fuck off.
What? Where did that come from?
Actually.
Oh, I see. I thought Ben had gone and done something rude again.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, I've done nothing. All I'm doing is going over and seeing Chris.
I see. Okay. Yeah, so that brings us up to date. How does everybody feel how the plot's progressing? Do you think is progressing fast enough? Or do you think they're still laying groundwork?
I think it's a deliberate, slow burn to start a new season. I think we've all sort of speculated, that they want at least the Horizons 4.0 client in place before they start picking up the pace. So I think it feels like it's just setting some groundwork. And don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, would you want it to speed up?
Not next week. There's a buckyball next week.
Yeah. Yeah, not now.
I think I'm quite looking forward to, and this is a question I want to give to the rest of you in a war CG. Let's say hypothetically in a war CG between the Fargod cult and the Federation, which it felt like one of those two Galnet articles today was hinting towards, with the potential for that CG to happen. If you were to pick a side, which side would you pick? But if you're picking between the Federation and the Fargod cult.
Nobody wants to go first.
No, everyone's like, I'm too scared. I'll go first. I'm picking the Federation.
Yeah, I would say
Fargod nutters.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking surely that's the obvious answer. Have I missed something? Yeah, the Fargod cult.
I have to point out, this isn't QI.
I mean,
when you put out the obvious answer, you don't get this huge siren telling you you've got it wrong.
The clue is in the name. Cult.
Maybe we should.
They're a cult. The clue's in the name.
See, if there were a bunch of tree huggers who weren't quite so loopy-loo, I'd be on their side. But the Thargoid cult are a bit fecking loopy-loo.
Has anyone heard Burr's theory from about a week ago? His tinfoil theory.
It's just
that D2.
Yeah. It's quite complex, and I can't possibly do it justice, because it was very complex. It was quite interesting. But
D2 is controlling the Thargoids as they come into attack.
Yeah, there was an interesting point that it was kind of suggesting that maybe, well, there does seem to be a split in the Fargod cult, and that maybe there's a rising section of the Fargod cult that aren't quite as loony as the original lot. and that D2 was involved in that. And what's the name of the first high priestess or whatever?
First apostle is.
That's the one. Yeah, that might be D2. Mostly it sounded bonkers, except there was a really interesting point that Burr made, which is that Thargoids are, as stated by Frontier, totally alien, and so we wouldn't really be able to communicate with them even if we had a common language. There's a great philosopher's quote about communicating with something very other to you. I can't remember what it is now. It's some paradox, but anyway, basically we wouldn't be able to communicate with the Thargoids. And this theory was that D2 is the human, is the commander who was like the human hybrid pilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes.
maybe she could act as some kind of spokesman that would give us a way in game of having interactions with the Thargoids through her. And I found that interesting because as a CG, how can you possibly have a CG to do something for the Thargoids because they're alien, and what can we possibly know what they want? But if Frontier somehow managed to inject a kind of go-between, we could do things at her bidding. It was interesting. I found it interesting. There was something in it that was quite intriguing.
Yeah, I like this. Stephen Usher goes Locutus of Tharg.
yeah.
I mean, it is a nice theory, and we always love a good bit of tinfoil hattery. Personally, I don't know. D2 was just someone they plugged in and didn't die. Effectively, I don't know whether or not she can now control Thargoids. We know that she could control one small scout ship.
It's an option for Frontier to spin, isn't it, in terms of story? I mean, they could spin that.
I would more offer her up as an olive branch / ambassador idea and see if she can help us get communication going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I have heard suggestions that the Thargoids will now be appearing as a new power and power play, so it gives them a representation of being involved with the game in that way and showing the influence come over. I mean, I suppose you could have a Thargoid faction in BGS that they manipulate. It's there are possibilities. But I guess Ben's having trouble with OBS at the moment. Let us call on the store alert.
I did have a second question.
Oh right, hang on.
Store alert now. I did have a second question on the back of the first question.
Okay, so go for your second question.
In that, if you were going to choose, let's say rewards are exactly the same on either side. We need to make sure that that's the case. But if you're playing, instead of working for them, what about against the Thargoid cult or against the Feds? Which one would you choose? Because I think that's a more difficult question.
I'm always against the Feds. The Feds can GTFO. I still have not forgiven them. So, yeah.
There we go. See, it's just a thing.
They done wronged me.
It's an interesting question, Psychic, because actually I wouldn't. While I wouldn't side with the Thargoid cult, I wouldn't turn on them either. I'd feel a bit sorry for them, really. Poor deluded people.
For me. It's just a weird one. I also feel like this new strain of the Thargoid cult. These are people. They give me the essence of being a little bit more militarized. I can't do that word. They definitely have more organization to them. Let's do that instead.
Yeah.
And it instead of being just a Fargoth call, it's turned into more of an organized religion, but also very, very importantly, a fanatical organized religion, and that's fucking terrifying. I don't give a toss about Stargoids that are like 2 months away. This organized religion coming up on the time when when it's getting to spoopy season. I'm not sure I'm keen on this.
What could go wrong, Si?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's religious extremists. When's that all worked out with that football team?
Been fine.
How many megaships have been taken out by religious extremists? At least one, isn't it? Quite possibly several.
And then he killed himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Bro, have you got any more questions, Psychic?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good. Okay, we'll move on to the store alert, if that's okay.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. A store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert. Which one will you buy? A store alert, 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 a store alert. Which one will you buy? A store alert, a store alert.
Yay.
And welcome back. Well, the store alert this time, we haven't actually seen anything new turn up in the store, unfortunately. However, there does seem to be the still existing 45% discount on all cosmetics, which has been running for the last couple of weeks. So if you still want that cheap ship kit or Crossfire skin, which I think I went out and bought one, yeah, that's still in. Oh, sorry, up to 45%. Yeah, because if I remember rightly, ship kits are 30% off.
Don't want people coming back to us and saying, well, Lave Radio said that it was 45% off everything. Not that we have any authority on anything, just want to be sure that we're saying the right thing.
Yes, completely true. So nothing new on sale this week. That's probably due to the bank holiday weekend that we suddenly had thrust upon us. But yeah, we'll check back with us next week. You never know. So moving on from there. Well, okay, Alec, you first.
No, I was just going to say on store alert, did anyone else fit their Union Jack back onto their Cobra? Just me then.
Yeah, just you, I'm afraid. I didn't think to.
Okay.
I should have done, really, if I was being patriotic.
I was away. I wasn't playing the game.
It was also Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yeah, I am so glad that Boris Johnson wasn't in charge, because no doubt he probably would have done that.
That would have been interesting, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, let us move on to the main discussion. So we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back and have some more chat.
I spend so much time in my Imperial Trader. I find it really hard to meet people.
I mean, when do you get the time to go to bars when you're taking on courier jobs for the military?
But with VenusDating.com, it was so simple. I just put in my personal details and they found me my perfect match.
I really thought it would be difficult, but Venus Dating made it so simple, with so much in common.
We both like movies, walking along the beach at sunset,
browsing Imperial shipyards.
And of course, since we started dating, we've discovered that we both really love shooting Thargoids. Let your voyage begin with VenusDating.com for every first encounter.
You've flown ships at max speed. You've felt the power of the 30-megawatt mining laser. You've experienced the efficiency of the MB4 mining machine.
Wow.
but it leaves every hardcore miner with just one question.
Why can't I get a shave that's that fast, close, and efficient?
Introducing the Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
It's so smooth.
Combining the power of a mining laser with the convenience of a drone.
It's like every hair is targeted by a fighter and destroyed.
Saracen's patented shaving drone attaches to your face at the start of the day. Leave it to do its work, and when you come back to check, your face is shaved.
He's so smooth.
It's like I'm mining my face.
The Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
Now I feel manly.
Saracen Shaving, making shaving an unnecessary adventure.
Hi, I'm Trent Stephen Findless Jr., and I'm here to tell all you pilots about a great new service. Take a listen to my friend, Pete.
My name's Pete, and I'm a long-distance haulier. I drive a Puma, shipping farm machinery from Leicester to Saweo. I love my family, and I don't mind being a hard-working blue-collar dad, but I'm tired of seeing my family grow old in front of my eyes. Every time I make the run there and back, I lose 15 days in hyperspace. My family is starting to notice that they're getting older, and I'm not. My wife had a baby last week. I did a week of shifts, and now my kid's got teeth. I wish there was some way my family could get old at the same speed as me.
There is, Pete.
How?
By buying into my new service, Findlist Cryogenics. We aim to put the freeze on the premature aging of your family. The process is simple.
Our unique family centres allow you to drop off your loved ones on the way to work. Simply hire the number of cryogenic pods you need and keep your family asleep while you fly among the stars. We ensure synchronicity with your flight patterns so they spend the same time awake that you spend in the cockpit.
And when you get home, bingo! Your family is the same age as you. Never lose family time in hyperspace again. We guarantee that you'll never miss another birthday, anniversary, or funeral.
Wow, Trent, that sounds great. Where do I sign?
Simply put your credit card details into our special webpage under the hashtag WeFreezeYourLove. We'll take care of the amounts, no need to worry about that.
It's so simple. I can't wait to keep my family in a secure block of ice. It's a weight off my mind.
Findlist Cryogenics, now at your local spaceport.
Findlist Cryogenics, because the family that grows old together goes cold together.
And welcome back. Now it's time to bring Alec, and well, Psyche I don't think needs bringing up to date, but Alec feels that he's a little bit behind the times the last couple of weeks.
I was just going to say, yeah, I listened to last week's show, but I have been out of the game a little bit, and certainly out of Odyssey. And so I was aware of Stargoids. I was a bit more up to date than Ben, so I'm aware of the Stargoids, and I'm aware that people were following them and tracking them, and Canon have been doing a great job of that. But I guess I'm certainly unclear on what rogue signal changes are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay, Psychit, you've actually visited one of these?
Yeah, I went out there today. So last week we had rogue signal sources appear with the update. So wherever a Stargoid was, now Colin, you might need to jump in and correct me on some of this.
Right.
Wherever a Stargoid was, a rogue signal source would follow. Originally, when they were inserted into the game, they were massive green clouds. As you got closer to them, they would appear as like these massive green clouds. But when you dropped into them, it would you would be disconnected from the reality and find yourself staring at your desktop.
Yes.
Until it was patched out this week.
Yeah.
Or last week. I don't know.
It's funny that actually when 4.0 came out, Odyssey also got a patch as well. It's a massive 2 gig patch.
Yeah.
No patch notes.
Lens flare.
Official patch notes.
No, there wasn't any
The lens flare was the previous one.
Yeah, but when 4.0 was released, Odyssey also got a big update, and there was no patch notes for that. What are they playing at? What are they hiding?
So then they rolled it back because
Yeah.
everyone
They
was
rolled
crashing.
something back, didn't
Well,
they?
they rolled something back, and now effectively what you can do is you can drop at these rogue signal sources now, but there's nothing there at all.
Right. At all.
You drop into you can see the Stargoid in the distance,
Yes.
but there's nothing to scan. There's nothing to check out or anything along those lines, which leaves me with a question on the back of that. But I believe Alex got a couple.
Yeah, okay, Alex, off you go.
I have two questions because I've been farting around in Horizons testing the next Buckyball race, so I haven't actually even had a chance to go out and see these Stargoids. So these things that you say were following or were appearing in the systems where the Stargoid had been. So am I right in that aggressive Thargoid hyperdictions were also following in the wake of the Stargoid?
No, they're ahead of them.
They're ahead. Okay, so these rogue signal sources aren't.
I've been told it's you can either, if you get hyperdicted, it will either be a normal hyperdiction or they'll be aggressive.
Okay.
I haven't been hyperdicted.
Okay, but these things are sort of slightly unrelated. So there are Thargoid hyperdictions in the vicinity of the Stargoid, but these rogue signal sources are sort of trailing them.
That's the impression that I'm under.
Okay. Do you want my second question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
My second question is, when the Stargoid was very first discovered, that first day or two when we were all watching loads of live streams and things, and I can't remember who I was watching at the time, but a few people found it didn't have the official title of a rogue signal at that time. It was just, I know what it was. It was like a signal in Super Cruise that you could lock onto, but was traveling so fast that it was quite hard to get your speed and distance down such that you could drop out at it. And if you did drop out at it, as I recall, there was nothing to see other than the targetable signal moving away from you quite quickly. So do we think this rogue signal source is just that, but it's now got a name?
It's not, when you drop into it, it doesn't move away.
Okay.
So if it was the same thing, it's adopted different behavior. The old ones were like the things where you have comets in game. They're like the placeholders for comets.
Yeah,
aren't they?
I found it very intriguing. It felt to me a bit like the underlying data model of Elite Dangerous that we kind of don't get to see. It felt a little bit like it needed to have things like the gravitational center for a bunch of stations rotating around a comet. It almost felt like there needed to be a thing in the game, and that you weren't necessarily supposed to be able to drop out at it and see it because there was nothing actually there. But the game needed this sort of target, this focal point for things happening. And at the time when the Stargoid was first seen, and then people found these things that they could sort of chase and just about drop out at that were invisible, it smelt to me a little bit like an implementation detail of the game, that it was the kind of targetable focus of the Stargoid. So I'm intrigued now whether these new things are deliberate. They sound more deliberate.
Indeed. My question that stems from the back of it, and is the question that I sort of asked today when I dropped in on it, and there's nothing there. Like, there are other, in the wake of these Stargoids, there are other things, like there are other signal sources which have the broken ships and the special item that you can pick up. There's some kind of something in there that you can pick up, which is like the logs, or I don't know. I can't remember what it's actually called. But now dropping in on these rogue signal sources, there is nothing there at all. Not even a green cloud. Nothing. So that to me begs the question: is if they removed the stuff that was in the rogue signal source or that stuff, why didn't they just remove the rogue signal source as well? Why is that still in the game, and why is it important?
I mean, that is an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I think we can all suspect it's something to do with the Thargoids, and maybe they have a cloak around it so that we don't know just yet what it is.
I should have flew around then, shouldn't I, and seen if I could knock into stuff. That'd be the trick.
Yeah, that'd be the trick. Yeah, crash test dummy cloak detector. Always useful.
I'd volunteer as tribute. There's like windmill everywhere. You'll find it eventually.
Or basically, you need to modify your torpedoes to scan for gaseous anomalies, because that thing's got to have a tailpipe. Let's see how many people get that reference.
I got that reference.
Yeah, but you're old.
I didn't, but it came very, very close to something else that we've been talking about today, so I'm not going to mention it.
Oh, the word tailpipe. Oh dear.
It's very hard to know with this stuff, isn't it? Whether we're seeing behind the curtains a little bit or not. Whether this is something that's not quite been implemented right, or
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when I heard that about what was said when it crashed out, I got very excited, and I must admit, now that I've heard that when you drop out, there's absolutely nothing, I'm a little bit disappointed.
Is this the phrase that I keep hearing people alluding to that's in the crash report?
Yes.
Yeah,
T word that we don't talk about here.
Can somebody
Not
type
yet.
it in chat here so I'm sick of not knowing what this word is. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, there's lots of words that appear in Elite that have nothing to do with Elite Dangerous, so we're not allowed to get super excited about it.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a random word on a crash report. It's much more. For me, at least, it's much more rewarding to speculate on the stuff that is currently in game than speculating on something that you see on a crash report.
Definitely.
The thing that was the thing that remains super super interesting for me is it's just, it boggles my mind that it's still if there wasn't something that we could do with it, why is it still there, man? It's something new. I want to be able to plod it until something happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main reason for my disappointment, was because basically, when I saw this massive 2 gig patch come down, I thought, oh, that means that the signal sources will start working, and of course they haven't, which is a little bit deflating. Alec?
Yeah, can we speculate then? Let's suppose that let's just go on the sort of most popular conception that the Stargoid is like a Thargoid mothership converging on somewhere, and there's 3, 4, 5 of them now. I missed out on that. How many are there now?
There's still only 3.
Still 3. Okay. So there's 3, let's say, Thargoid motherships converging somewhere for the sake of argument.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think could be in these signal sources that are trailing them? And let's suppose that they're not fully implemented yet, and so there is supposed to be a green cloud, and let's suppose there is supposed to be something in that green cloud. What does it make sense for that to be?
Actually, to me, it makes sense that that's actually expired fuel rods, or some kind of fuel dump that is left, some toxic waste it's left as it flew past. That would be funny. I must admit, that'd be funny. Everybody getting all excited, and they've just come across Thargoid poo.
What was the thing in episode? Yeah, what was the phrase in episode of Red Dwarf where they found he was convinced it was a life pod, and it was it garbage pod or something? But it was It had a name, I can't remember because
Oh, I've watched that one so recently.
half the wording was obscured. Quagars or something. It would be funny if we found some Thargoid Quagars and it turned out to be just garbage pods. It's a garbage pod.
Oh, no doubt some collectors would want it because, yeah, pick up some Thargoid poo and take over to Professor Palin. He'll be happy.
Now, think of the compost that you could get out. I'm thinking about the Wandering Village too much.
Think about what we can do with guano and things like that.
Compost corner. Sorry, another old person joke.
Yes. So I'm for some reason now thinking about Thargoid foie gras.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Like we don't seem to have any great theories as to what Frontier would want us to find in the wake of the Stargoid. I'm trying to think what would be interesting, what would make good gameplay, what would tell us something, what would drive the story forward.
I wish we could with the crash sites. I wish those things that you can pick up would tell us something.
Yeah,
very much so.
Like a little bit of like, even if it's just the smallest bit of information. Like, oh my god, did you see that thing? It was massive. That would be enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck's that coming towards us? It's coming towards us very fast, very, very
That's
fast.
what I mean.
Don't worry, they can't hit us at this dis. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of flavor text it could add. I mean, is it building the atmosphere for this upcoming event enough for everybody, or is it just that it's feeling like it's teasing too much?
Have you got blue balls?
We've had this before, haven't we? This is what Frontier do.
But you've had blue balls before.
Always, all the fucking time with this game.
Yeah. Yeah, Frontier like to tease this stuff out, that's fine.
It is difficult. It's I sometimes I will get to a Thursday and I'll be like, oh man, there's got to be something. Please make there be something. And there's just like, it's more disappointing when there isn't a CG. And
yes.
The only thing that we get are two extra Stargoids that we can't interact with. That is a little disappointing. I'm not going to lie, because I feel like it's obviously a fair amount of the community look to the CGs each week as something to be getting stuck into and those kind of things.
Completely agree there.
When there isn't one, and the thing that we get in place of it is less than a base with logs.
Yes.
Maybe there were things with logs. Maybe we have all missed bases with logs. Maybe there's a clue out there where these Stargoids were coming from. Maybe there's massive Thargoid base shaped holes in the ground somewhere that we just haven't found yet.
Yeah, I mean,
is that their litter tray?
Their litter tray. Yeah, I mean that's the issue, isn't it? Because basically you're seeing all this stuff, you're thinking, "Oh, they put something decent in. Let's go find it." And no.
Don't get me wrong. It's interesting. It's interesting to look at, and like we can pull content out of speculating over what those things are, what it's going to result in, all of that stuff. We've probably got shows for days like working on specific sections of that. But it'd be nice to have for it to be a little bit more meaty. Back on your foie gras analogy.
I mean, yeah. If you pop over to the Canon website, there's a heck of a lot of resources there for tracking it. They've gone through audio analysis. They've gone and logged the hyper addictions around it, which are, 50% of them are immediately aggressive, and 50% aren't. And the type of interceptions that you're getting. But I must admit that there is quite a lot of stuff that they're finding in the unknown signal sources, which, it would have been a kind of gold mine just to, if there was just a little bit of flavor text in there to say, my God, what's that coming? It's scary. But yeah, it's Alec.
Yeah, just had another thought that I wonder if it'd be quite nice, because I feel like these Stargoids are going to carry on for quite a while, sort of slowly approaching. I mean, I think we all suspect that they're basically going to coincide with the next update.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wondered, it would be quite neat if there was something in the green gas clouds that you could collect, either data you could scan or something, and then they could have a CG. I mean, they'd have to spin some story around it, but it would give people an excuse to go out there and track these things and drop in and scan some data and bring it back, and it would at least, because at the moment all you can really do is go and look at this thing and listen to it, and to actually sort of engage with it and collect something from it and bring it back would be quite interesting.
It'd be nice if you could honk its wake or something.
Yeah, like a wake scan, but go out there with a frame shift wake scanner, but scan.
I don't suppose anybody's been able to fire off one of the interdictors at the Stargoid, or is it impossible to? It doesn't appear as a target that you can.
You can't lock onto it.
You can't lock onto it. No, that's a shame.
Yeah, I suspect even if we could lock onto it, it'd be like I don't know, an ant trying to interdict a aircraft carrier or something.
Yeah, that's probably a good analogy there. So I guess we're all in agreement that we're saying, okay, it's nice that this is in, but can we move it on a little bit?
I'm all for edging, but can we not? Right now?
Yeah, it feels. I suspect something may be coming quite soon. They obviously tried to do something which didn't work, and they've had to roll back. So partly because of the bank holiday, I think, wasn't it? So I think now that that's behind us, they'll definitely be putting that back in again. I foresee a patch coming very soon.
Well, there was one issue that I thought was quite funny about the patching, was that they must have listened to last week's show, because apparently when you look down at the crotch panel, basically the game crashed, and I'm blaming.
I wasn't here.
People putting rude comments in our chat for that.
I wasn't here. I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah. Anyway, I think
Jin may or may not have been involved.
Jin may or may not have been involved. Yeah, completely correct. I think we're going to move on. Has anybody got anything final to say about the Stargoid and the rogue signal source?
Like, if anyone's got any suggestions as to what they think it might be, or what they think the reason for keeping the rogue signal sources in game was, I would love to hear them.
Yes, this is. So
engage with us in our comments. That would be great.
Yeah, apart from the fact we think all we've got so far to go on is it looks effectively like a Stargoid fart. When you think about it, that's what it is. It's just poisonous, a green gas that's got nothing in it. It's a good job we don't have smell factors put into the ships. Yeah. Anyway, on that highbrow moment, I think we'll move over to the community corner. First of all, we have it started on just 2 days ago at Lave Station, but the passage to Andromeda, I got it right eventually. It started this weekend. It is Commander Yamix's last big expedition. So we have to take a moment to salute Commander Yamix. I've got to get that right because he's very close to Yamix, who's a YouTuber, but there's Yanix, who's the guy that does this stuff. He's done an awful lot of these expeditions over the last 5 years, and He's a very good organizer, so we have to give him a round of applause and thank him for doing these things for the last 5 years. And the idea is that this expedition will head out to where the Andromeda galaxy is supposed to impact the Milky Way galaxy in, what, 5 billion years or something like that?
I was meant to go to the closest point in the galaxy, but yeah.
Yeah, well, the closest point to the Andromeda galaxy, which is probably where it's going to impact us in 5 billion years. You know, plenty of time to wait then.
Just a couple of weeks. Be right.
Yeah. So, yeah, all those people from Mass Effect Andromeda that finally make it back. That's one game. I tried to play that game. I did try to, and I just no.
I've heard it might be better now, but I don't know the truth behind that.
Yeah, I'm going to finish the Legendary Edition. I'm almost finished this last playthrough of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and then I'll move on to Andromeda. I can't even bloody pronounce it. It's that shockingly bad. But yeah, it's. I'll give that one another go. So yeah, that's carrying on for the next few weeks, and full details we will put in the show notes. Also, we've probably missed this now, but the CQC Discord has been doing the Plasma Challenge, where effectively they're having there's restrictions on a free-for-alls where you've just got to have the P-63 Federal Fighter armed with plasma cannons only. Obviously, it's in 3.8, and may the best plasma cannoner win. So I think they're also doing something, a Capture the Flag event on Thursday as well, normally between 6 and 8 UTC. So give that a try. I'll pop over to the CQC Discord to find out more. Good news, the Canon Discord is back.
Hooray!
Only this time with added security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no QR codes are allowed on their Discord anymore for some weird reason.
Oh, I wonder why that is.
I believe also the password is no longer password.
No, it's password 1234.
Don't tell everyone. We were told that in privacy. Ben, gone.
Shit, they're gonna have to change it again.
Somebody stick an exclamation mark on the end of the password.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, it's you know when you know that something everybody's done that is that Michael. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Michael McIntyre did an entire routine about putting in passwords, so everyone put in their password, and then when it asked for a number, that everybody asked 0 at the end. Yeah. And when they asked for a symbol, everyone went 0 and then exclamation mark. And you can see the entire audience go, "Oh God, everybody else has done that as well."
It's so common; it's now a comedy routine. I better go and change my password.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not doing the vastly superior 69, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But 69 characters are just
no, just 69 being the number at the end, and then the exclamation mark, obviously.
Obviously, the exclamation mark. Yeah. Yes, the Anti-Xeno Initiative are doing the Great Sensor Data Hunt, which is running from now to the 30th of September. Now that is a title that I'm glad that I haven't been drinking. We will give full details of that over on their Discord. Well, you can find details over their Discord, but we'll put a link also in the show notes. Right. It's the last one of the season.
Yeah, baby.
Commander Alec Turner, what's this about trying not to breathe?
Here we go. Last race of the Magic 8-Ball Championship. This one... Has everyone seen the Highwakes trailer? Oh my God. How good is that? How good is that?
Putnik, are we able to play that? Or Alec, do you want us to play that if Putnik can play it?
play it as much as you want. I absolutely adore it. So yeah, I approached the highway. Do you know, I had an idea. I wanted to make a little trailer for the like a teaser trailer, and I had this in-game idea, and I was running through it in my mind, and I was thinking, yeah, I'll do a little trailer, and I'll have a clip of like route plotting and deciding to go for one more leg, and then I'll have a an in-game, a sort of in-cockpit shot of the countdown, and then I'll have a shot of the sort of getting closer to the mail slot. And the more I ran it through in my head, I just thought, oh, this is a highway cartoon. I just need to contact them and say, can you please make this for me? And yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. Massive, massive thanks to the highway for bringing an idea that was in my head to life. I love it. I love it to bits. So yes, the idea of this race, there's a forum thread for it, but I'm going to release the full details tomorrow. I'm vaguely hoping that Frontier might feature it on their Thursday live stream, so I'll unveil the full details tomorrow. It's an odd one, this race, because there's quite a lot of planning, and if I release the details too soon, then people are just going to be doing it this week, and the race is meant to be next week, so I'm trying to find the balance between not too soon and not too late. But the basic idea of the race is that you have a Class A life support, which gives you 25 minutes of emergency oxygen. And you start on a pad inside an orbital space station where you have an artificial atmosphere inside. So you can turn off your life support and nothing happens until you leave the station. So then the basic premise is to try and go as far as you can in those 25 minutes and get back to the station before your oxygen runs out. So
and you can't refuel your oxygen, you can't use
no synthesis.
No synthesis.
So a lot of people think that when you land, so there is landing at the way you get a score is that every time you land at a station, actually it's a bit more complicated than that, but I'll come on to this in a minute. But when you land at a station, the distance between the system that station is in and the start is added to your total. So you're basically trying to visit as many stations as you can in the time that are a long way away, and then still get all the way back to the start before you run out. So the first thing is that if you land at orbital stations, the minute you go through the mail slot and in through the kind of artificial, airlock, your oxygen is restored. So those are out. So we're not using orbital stations. But if you land at an outpost, as long as you don't elect to go down inside the station, your oxygen countdown continues. It doesn't restore the air, so the countdown carries on.
So when it just puts you into and turns you round,
yes.
that
So
won't,
if you land and hit
refuel
launch,
you.
if you land and hit launch, then the pad goes down, turns around, comes back up, but the shutter above you never closes, and you never get into an artificial atmosphere state that restores the oxygen. It also turns out to be true on planetary bases. So a couple of things for this race that are a little bit different. I won't tell people where we're starting from yet. I'll wait until tomorrow for that.
Right.
But this time, because there's been a lot of interest in this race, I'm a bit I'm a bit wary about the amount of work I'm going to have to do as the judge for this. Some of the runs in the original race, people were doing 8-9 stops, and every one of those I needed to get a distance and add the distance. It's quite complex. So I'm artificially limiting everyone to 5 stops by saying that this time we're delivering cargo. And you can deliver a maximum of 5 tons of cargo, 1 unit to each station. So your objective when planning this race is to pick the 5 most remote outposts or planetary bases
That's fantastic.
that you think you can get to, drop off your cargo, and still get back to the start line in time.
Oh my goodness, that's going to be mental.
So there will be a maximum of 5, and the form, we're going to use a Google form to submit your entries. So basically there's 5 boxes for you to put your 5 systems in, and that makes it nice and easy for me. There's 5 distances to add up. I've got a spreadsheet all lined up to go to add them up. And then the only other little caveat on this is that, and this was true of the original race, is I realised that once you'd run so you work out a course, you work out where you think you can get to, you run the course, you make it back. Suppose you make it back with 1.5 minutes to spare.
Right.
Originally, I thought there's no incentive in classic buckyball style to have another go and see if you can do it faster, because there's no prize for being faster.
No, there isn't. This is just this, isn't it?
So the kind of little extra bonus is that the number of seconds that are left on the clock when you get back,
yeah,
I divide by 3. It's just a bit of a fudge factor, and you get that number of extra bonus light years. So suppose you do it in 1.5 minutes. That's 90 seconds.
Right.
So you get an extra 30 light years.
Ah, I see.
If you can do it faster, the same route faster, you'll get more seconds, and so a bigger bonus. So there is a little in. Obviously, what I would generally advise people try and do is find a better route. Find a route that's right on the limits of what you're capable of doing, so that you're getting back within 10 seconds of running out of oxygen. Then you know that you found the route that's right for you. And then maybe just run it faster to try and get that time down a little bit more.
As usual, my brain is beginning to melt with all the sub-regulations that are involved with this.
It's quite easy. I think when you read the forum thread, it's basically quite easy. You're delivering 5 things. You've got to take them as far as you can and get back without dying in 25 minutes.
Katiana's asking, do you have to do 5?
No. So you have to do 3.
Oh, right.
And you can do a maximum. You can do a maximum of 5. Yeah. You have to do 3, and you can do a maximum of 5. So as illustrated in the Highwake's lovely little video, there is the option of bailing out and thinking, I can't do the last one. I'm going to run out of air before I deliver that one. I'll just head back now.
Colin, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Can we watch the Highwake video, please?
I was hoping that it would go on.
Who?
There we go. I think we're watching it.
Perfect, thank you.
Apologies to the audio listeners. It's very short.
Would you like to do some audio description for it?
I'm not sure I can. I haven't got it on screen at the moment.
I thought he's
got like 25. Is it 25 minutes or 20 minutes?
25.
25 minutes.
Okay, because I'm sure you said 20 minutes earlier.
Apologies if I did. Yeah, it's 25. And it's great. The 2 things I love about this race. One is it's the only race where you've got a countdown to your death on screen the whole time, which I think is awesome. And it's also really interesting flying in that kind of muffled ambience. Because it all sounds so different with life support.
The thing is, when it gets to the end, when it gets right to the end and you can hear the gasping and stuff.
I know.
I've done that so many times. I'm going to lose so many cobras to this. Holy nuts.
Oh, I know.
Yes, I love this video. Thank you, Highwake.
Yeah, the Highwake is a Ukrainian artist, and I remember we've got the Ukrainian flag with a little Highwake cartoon on it, and we've been told off because it's disrespecting the Ukrainian flag, and we're there going, but it's done by a Ukrainian artist.
It is what it is. It is
what it is. Yeah.
It's also randomly rotating around his artwork.
Yeah.
It's not just on the toilet. That's just one of the ones.
Just one of the ones.
I did see a comment on the on his YouTube video. Somebody said that the mail slot, as he's desperately trying to make it back with seconds of oxygen left, should have had a big fat beluga wedged in it.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh, I just know that's what's going to happen to me.
Which is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of planning in my future, and I'm not here for it, Alec. And this is your fault, and I'm holding you personally responsible.
I'm so sorry.
I
And
need Epithus to just write me something again. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
And also, as I was just discussing with Psychic earlier today, so that the only reason I've added planetary bases back into they weren't allowed in the original race, but we've allowed planetary bases this time. I don't think they're tactically a good decision because it takes quite a long time to descend and get away from planets.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Exactly. But I suddenly thought, what about the Corvette Club? I can't exclude the Corvette Club from the final race. I need to give them a way of completing it. So planetary bases are there purely so that the Corvette lovers can get their Corvette runs in.
I don't know even that I'm gonna do. I don't think I'm gonna do it in a Corvette. I don't think I have the mental capacity to plan it in a Corvette.
I've changed the rules of the race specifically so you can do it in
great. I'm sure that someone else is mental. I'm looking at you, Epithus.
Oh no, you've activated the psychic clause.
Oh man.
It's like the
Epithus is
Santa
posting
Claus,
lots of
but
Corvettes
worse.
in chat,
No,
so
I
I
have
think we can rely on Epithus for a Corvette run.
But now I have to do two. Now I have to do two lots of planning, and I don't know if the planning for the Corvette is able to take the big hand says it's time to rock and roll. I don't know if that's enough for me to be able to complete it. Heck it, we'll try it.
Psychic,
Why
what
not?
you could do is do the Corvette run first, because I can guarantee you'll be able to do the same run in the Cobra. Won't be very
Yeah.
competitive, but
Yeah, I want to be competitive though.
there you go.
Alec, I got out of the 1 point club last time.
You did.
And we'll never hear the end of it.
Said it twice, Colin. Stop being so hurt by it.
Which 18th time is twice then?
Literally said it. I literally said it the last, like when we talked about the winning and how the results and that I was proud of my results, and I just said it again now. And Alex here all the time.
And for anybody watching, I am just taking the wind-up key out of the back. Right, moving on. Operation Reforge Aegis is continuing at the moment. It ends on the 30th of September. The location is the Pleiades Nebula, with helping out the allies of justice of Aegis and humanity. Operation Reforge Aegis is basically an effort, a 2-week effort to stabilize and strengthen the Aegis research faction in the Pleiades Nebula, in order to kind of establish it as a working faction, because apparently it was dying a death. So that we have a whole lot of people who are basically wanting to take Aegis private. They're privatizing Aegis.
I mean, Tanner could work for them again.
That is quite true. However, on a more serious note, I think everybody here in Lave Radio would like to send our best wishes over to Commander Plater. Commander Plater is a friend of the show. He does his own streams. He's got his own Discord, and as everybody who follows him knows, he is suffering from thyroid cancer, which has taken a turn for the worst.
Yeah, I get the feeling it's now thyroid plus everything else cancer.
Yeah. All we can say is that we're thinking about you, mate. And as both me and Ben said yesterday, just fuck off, cancer.
Yep.
Just fuck off, cancer. So yeah. No. Just I've got something in my eye here. Just let me move that out of the way. Anybody got any other business they'd like to discuss? Obviously not.
Not off the top of my head, no.
I'm trying to think if I had anything going on, and I'm just like, I'm so tired. Please, I've just got back from holiday, and I'm so tired.
Yeah, I've got nothing going on that I want to share with the class.
No, yeah. I must admit, yes. Suffering from scorbs withering, oh, let's all pretend Star Citizen's the new elite on Sunday.
That was funny.
Yeah, you lot trying to convince me that Star Citizen, they were all flying with Type 8. Oh, ha ha ha.
It wasn't a Type 8, it was a Type 9 with a ship kit.
Oh dear. As if you think I'd never played Star Citizen. Jeez. Anyway, let us move on to the shoutouts. So obviously the Dex Legacy is on hiatus. It'll be a while until something new comes out. So, but the whole, if you have missed the Dex Legacy, it is now completely available in full on Spotify and Audible, where you can also find bonus interviews with cast members. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Truckers, the Hutton Orbital Radio, home of the Hutton Orbital Truckers, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30, and you can tune in at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/EliteDangerousCQC. And we'll also give some shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts which have appeared and are still going. So there'll be a flight assist along soon, I believe.
Yep. Definitely. I've definitely got stuff to do with it tomorrow. So yes.
Excellent. Good to hear that you've started to work on that again. There was the latest Guard Frequency that came out this morning, and they do other space games as well. And we also have the Loose Screws.
They talk about Type 8s.
They talk about Type 8s. They talk about a lot of type stuff. Yeah, they've also moved as well. It seems that Tuesday is Elite Day because that's when all the podcasts seem to drop at the same time. So I'm either doing one or
nothing from Lave Radio.
We're just trendsetters, Colin.
Flight Assist comes out on a Monday.
Just to be different.
We're special.
Does it, Psychic? Does it?
Not every Monday, darling. We've been really busy with real life stuff.
All right.
You're having a bank holiday.
Well, following this, of course, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd like to thank everybody who's chipped in on the Twitch chat. And Ben, did you get any in-game commanders as you ran around, you and Ventura?
Just Miggles and Chris.
Oh, hello, Miggles and Chris, of course. Right, so special thanks, of course, goes to Commander Tokuso, Jay and Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have created music that we use for the show. But that is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com. Hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio, and you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, and you can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now, do get in touch if you've got any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. So, Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 British Summertime and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, I'd just like to say thanks to Ben.
Thank you, Colin. I'm not used to this.
You're not used to this, jeez. I'd like to say good night to Psykit.
Hi, bye. We talked about pegging today and nobody knew. Oh, damn it.
No, actually, she talked about pegging. No one else wanted to. Okay?
Katie Anna joined in a little bit.
I think you'll find we all talked about pegging.
Yeah.
Well,
Katie helped, and I provided that definitions to Alec.
Yeah, Alec had to be. People had to explain to Alec what it was.
Thank you.
Education complete, I believe, Alec.
Indeed.
We had to explain what Rule 34 was to you the other day, Colin. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, we don't talk about Bruno.
Right. Alec.
Good night, everyone. I think this thing where we say goodbye or good night is wonderful. Who suggested it? It's a brilliant idea.
It's feeling very forced, if you ask me.
Yeah,
I really like it.
Good night, John Boy.
Goodbye.
Good night from you.
Sod you then, don't say it.
Yeah.
Right, Alec!
We also have to say, and special thanks to today's tech specialist, that would be the fantastic Pontic Santiago. So, right, until next time, Commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted.
You need a safe word.
Space Cathedral.
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
The Azimuth Saga, Part 9, The Proteus Wave and its Aftermath. In previous episodes, we've described events covering nearly 200 years of Azimuth history, from the first discovery of Guardian and Thargoid technology, the development of a very early Guardian weapon, through Dr. Caleb Wycherley's involvement in the ending of the First Thargoid War 150 years ago, Project Seraph and the Black Flight in 3302 and 3303, through to Salvation's development of Proteus wave technology in 3307, the pirating of the Alexandria, the discrediting and disbanding of Aegis, and numerous tests of the new anti-Thargoid weapon. We are now ready for the culmination, the detonation of the Proteus wave and the ending of the Second Thargoid War. On the 30th of June 3308, Taurus Mining Ventures, newly renamed to Azimuth Biotech, moved 2 megaships, the Bright Sentinel and the Heart of Taurus, into the HIP 22460 system. This had been the site of Project Seraph Base at Fort Ash, and it is where the Thargoid-destroyed Black Flight megaship, the Overlook, remains. More importantly for Salvation, there were 2 Thargoid sites on Moon 10B, and for the greatest incarnation of his super weapon, the Proteus Wave, he needed to plug the device into one of the Thargoid devices in one of those sites to amplify the power of the tuned electromagnetic pulse to destroy every Thargoid spacecraft in the system. The Proteus Wave was powered by Guardian relics, and the hostility of Thargoid technology to anything Guardian was well known, so this was clearly a risky strategy. As more and more Guardian technology was brought into the system, Thargoids started gathering. This was part of the strategy. By attracting the majority of Thargoids to one system, their elimination would be devastating. This was in fact exactly the same strategy Salvation had used in Cornsar, but defences were needed. So Salvation asked his sponsors in the Empire, Federation and Alliance to help fend off the Thargoids until the Proteus wave was ready to fire. The battle lasted for weeks, with 3 Imperial interdictors, 3 Farragut battlecruisers, and a repurposed Alliance freighter fitted with anti-Xeno weapons, supplemented by thousands of smaller ships, all fighting to keep the Thargoids away from the Bright Sentinel. Sirius Corporation chose not to take part, and kept its megaship in an adjacent system, along with the Azimuth biotech megaships Musashi and Glorious Prospect. Early on the 9th of August, Commodore Morag Halloran broadcast a message to the crew of the Bright Sentinel.
This is Commodore Halloran. I've just received word that the Proteus wave weapon has been successfully installed at the Thargoid surface site. Soon we will initiate the weapon's activation sequence. It will take some time, so we need to be wary of any attempt by the Thargoid fleet to interfere with Salvation's plan. I've confirmed with Galnet officials that every major newsfeed will carry live footage of the superweapon's activation. We'll share the coming victory with the people we fight for. Every loved one of the millions lost to the Thargoids will witness our revenge in real time. You all know your duties. We've drilled them a dozen times over. Don't let the waiting audience distract you. Make me proud, okay? Halloran out.
Salvation himself recorded a personal log just moments before the Proteus wave fired, the culmination of a 200-year-long lifetime spent pursuing the dream of conquering the Thargoids.
The time of our victory is almost here. My journey has been long. Too long, I think. I am likely to be the oldest ever living human. The fortune I have spent on cell regeneration and bionic replacements to keep my physical form intact. It would make even a serious accountant weep. Every single credit was worthwhile, though. The investments have allowed me to witness this moment, to be our salvation. The Thargoids are an ancient race, too blind to realize that time has passed. Over the centuries, I have admittedly found a grudging respect for them. The creatures are equally intelligent and ruthless, but they lack the ambition and endless potential of humans. I've given my life to ensuring the crown is finally snatched away from them. We are now the dominant civilization in the galaxy. My name will be remembered alongside the very greatest champions of humanity. I believe I have earned that much.
And when the Proteus wave fired its bright blue pulse, it seemed for about a minute that it had all gone perfectly. The Thargoid ships lost power. The reign of the Thargoids was over, or so it seemed. But some strange alchemy was taking place in the Thargoid structure on planet 10b. A second, green energy pulse, stronger than the Proteus wave pulse, flooded into the system. The Thargoids came back to life, and all human craft, including megaships, were immobilized for long enough for the majority to be wiped out. All hybrid Guardian modules stopped working. Salvation, the Bright Sentinel, the Heart of Taurus, and all the Imperial, Federal and Alliance ships in system were destroyed. Thargoids became far more aggressive and actively sought out any human presence in the system. The Thargoids have the upper hand in HIP 22460, and there are rumours that their influence and the newfound aggression is beginning to spread to neighbouring systems. The story of Salvation, the Azimuth saga, is at an end. Salvation not only failed to end the war, he empowered the Thargoids far more than anyone could have imagined. In early September 3308, it is not yet clear how far-reaching the consequences of Salvation's failure will be. And far out, beyond Barnard's Loop, 3 strange new stars have been sighted, with 8 spirals of green light and 8 of blue. They are moving swiftly through interstellar space, travelling from one star to the next. They appear to be heading towards human-occupied space. The next chapter of the history of the galaxy has begun.